Okay. So previous class we were talking about different types of requirements. Please mute yourself, all of you. Okay. So we were talking about requirements. So let us see what was that. We even discussed about that how that vanilla ice cream problem was a computational thinking problem. So so we just what was this figure talking about? Can someone say me? There is a figure on the screen, isn't it? So what was that? To show what we had such a slide. Can someone say?
Colored pattern.
Colored pattern. Are you seeing that and saying, or you're saying from somewhere?
Ma'am, it's written
About the
problem
design.
decomposition.
It's the
Uh,
first super slide for me.
Ma'am,
sorry?
no figure is visible, ma'am.
Sorry?
Slide hasn't been updated.
Okay, means you are not able to see
Ma'am,
the
only
slide.
HRF.
Sorry? I don't know whether there is a network issue. Just a second.
Ma'am, we are not able to see.
Okay, let me
Just log out and log in. I think you'll be able to see.
just a second. Let me first start it again. I mean, share again. What about now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes,
What is
ma'am.
what is it that you see now on my screen?
Ma'am, trees. Ma'am.
Ah, okay, okay, fine.
Trees.
Okay. Okay, so I am repeating my question. My question was, what do you understand from this figure? Why was this discussion there in our slide? What was the significance of such a figure?
One
Someone.
tree, many uses.
One tree, many users.
Ma'am, it was representing that the communication is very
Communication
necessary
problem.
Yeah,
between the developer and the customer.
yeah, exactly. So we were talking about so we were talking about requirements gathering and all that. So and then we were saying that so when we are trying to build a software, why this is requirements gathering is also a very critical step, because we may feel that once the customer says build a, like say ticket, like railway reservation management software, that's it, that's enough. Like you may feel why you need to like have a larger discussion of say a requirements gathering and then agreeing upon etc. That is because there are many people involved in this, like say the customer side itself, like say if it is the Indian Railways, there may be the people who are actually at the higher end who gives just instruction but they don't know how the things work. There may be people who are actually working in railways who will actually know how the ticket booking would happen. So there would be different people. So similarly, in the other end, for the software developer also, we may have different people interacting with the customer and all that. So now, when you have a larger discussion in picture, of course, there is a there can be a communication gap, because so that is what is represented in the figure. In the first leftmost, the first one, if you can see, this was what the customer explained, and then further by the end what the what is that developer team understood, and then how it came up, and finally if you see what the customer actually needed was the last picture. So there itself there is a difference. What he actually wanted and what he explained itself is different. Now by the time it came to the software development team and then the analyst etc, finally the programmer writing it etc, it became very different thing. So that is why they are showing it with just a small picture, but then that is how it is. Like say if you are asking someone to develop university management software, and then so what happens is what they try to do, or explain to us, in the sense the customer team, what they explain to us would be based on what they understand, etc. And then from there, the business analyst, the consultant, and all that in our team, I mean in our company, and then finally the software developer, it may get lost if it is not properly documented. So so that is why the requirements analysis itself is like a big task in software development. So there we have to like have enough discussion on what they are actually wanting and how much we can provide. And finally, both teams should agree upon and come to a conclusion of how much it would be, what kind of features would be provided. Okay. So this was just representing the miscommunication that could happen when it is from the customer till the developer, and finally when it is developed, how different it could be if it is not properly communicated, documented, etc. So usually what happens is initially they give the requirements, they in the sense the customer team, and then the developer team or maybe the company persons, whoever interacts with the customer would come and give us a idea of what they need, and then we might document it and then show them and explain to them this is what our software would look like. Are they fine with it, etc. And then again there will be reiterations happening and meetings, and then finally we'll come up with a clear understanding of our problem. Then only we'll start building it. Because what happens is like if there is a change, like, or say if the customer what they want and what we built is like entirely different thing, and then what happens, like 2-3 months of time and money goes wasted, isn't it? So initially itself we have to have a clear idea of what they actually want and what we can provide. So we should negotiate and come to a conclusion of that. So to tell that, they have shown this figure. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then we talked about two kinds of requirements. So functional and non-functional. So when it is functional, it is mainly the input, output, processing, error handling and all. But then when it is non-functional, it is like safety, security, how quickly the response comes. Then help facilities with the particular application. All these are your non-functional requirements. Okay. I think we have done, I mean, we have discussed a good number of examples. Can one of you, a few of you just refresh one and give me 1 or 2 examples? For functional and non-functional. So when I ask about functional, non-functional, first think of a software and its functionality or the features which talks about that functions. Like say when we told about say library management system, the book issue, book withdrawal, book return, then book availability checking, login password, all that would be your functionalities. But then like say how many times it fails when many people access, or maybe you're not able to access it outside the intranet. So those kind of things, etc., would come into our non-functional requirements. Similarly, when you say about say ticket management system, that is your railway reservation system software. So your ticket booking and all that would become like ticket checking, ticket booking, say even food booking also. All that would come under your functional requirements. Whereas for Tatkal time, so at 9 o'clock, how quick. So I have a requirement that during Tatkal time the server shouldn't crash. So that would be a non-functional requirement. So the requirement is like a feature, but that is what is mentioned by the customer or someone. But that is a non-functional, because now when I say it is what is that? Like it shouldn't crash. That means it should be able to take more load even when there is a Tatkal kind of situation where we have large number of users trying to use the same software at the same time. So that is one thing. Or maybe you can say when you give your bank details, security should be maintained so that your accounts are not hacked or maybe accessed, etc. So that those kind of things are all coming under, and maybe say if it is a hospital management software, your privacy is a concern. Like say in hospitals, this is the main issue. If you're trying to do some research in hospital data, you won't get data because it actually deals with private information of patients. So if we are, you say for example, feeding the data into the hospital management software, you should ensure that the patient privacy is maintained. So their privacy comes. So that requirement where I mentioned the patient privacy should be maintained. That is a requirement, but it is a non-functional requirement. So do you get the difference? Can someone say me some examples now?
Ma'am,
Mm.
WhatsApp.
Just raise your hands. I'll call because multiple people otherwise start talking. Can you raise your hands? Okay. Yes, Madhu, you can start.
Netflix is the software, ma'am.
Mm.
Seeing movie is the functional requirement.
Okay.
The clarity and the internet usage is the
Yes.
non-functional.
How clear your videos come up and how quickly it gets loaded, etc., would be your non-functional requirement. Exactly. And watching the movie is your, of course, functional requirement. Yes. Something else, Vamsi?
WhatsApp is the software.
Sorry.
WhatsApp is the software.
What is the software? I didn't get.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay.
WhatsApp chatting is the functional requirement.
Mm. The
And
chat
privacy
service in
and
the WhatsApp is a functional requirement. Okay.
requirement. And privacy, data privacy is a
Yeah,
non-functional.
privacy is so always they display that this end-to-end encryption is there for the chat, etc. So that is to ensure the privacy. So that is actually non-functional requirement. Yes. Vamsi. Okay, Vamsi only answered now, no? Navaneet?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can we say like Microsoft Azure is like a software and like a service, and then it provides cloud computing. That's like its functional requirement.
Okay.
And then like according to the needs of the client, they are able to like provide more or less, like scale down or scale up the amount of resources given.
But when with respect to cloud, can we say that also becomes like a functional requirement, no? That like now allocating the resource to the user is also a function. Usually we can say, but in cloud, I think that itself is the task, right?
Ma'am,
What is cloud?
like if we are buying it first, and then like instead of it remaining fixed, and then like us having to buy like complete different package like dynamically if they are increasing.
Yeah,
and
I understood. Yeah, I understood. But then that is more of its functionality itself. No, allocating resources dynamically in cloud. I think that is its task, isn't
okay,
it?
ma'am.
But
Yeah.
there itself, if you can say, like, say in cloud, maybe I am putting my research data, which is very huge, or maybe I am putting some videos which are private to my family. So of course, security is a concern, or privacy is a concern, basically, not security, privacy.
Yes.
So that privacy you can say as a what is that, non-functional requirement.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, so I think it's clear, isn't it? Any doubt for anyone? Like you might feel that maybe this is some maybe you have something in mind and you're not sure whether it is correct. You can still raise and tell me the example. Only if you say I can help you. Otherwise, I don't know. I assume that you have understood. Okay, so all of you are clear with what is functional and what is non-functional requirements. Okay. Yeah.
Ma'am, once can you explain that non-functional requirement, ma'am? I didn't understand that.
Yes, Kamal. So basically, when we say you are able to, see my, just a second. Yeah, see my screen. Usually, The basic processing and your input, output, etc., your functional requirements. But other than that, like say, in any software when you use, like say, if it is Facebook or say Messenger, main what is your functionality of that particular application? That is to send and receive chats, maybe calls, video calls. These are all a different functionality what it would have. Whereas when it comes to non-functional requirement, it could be like the security, or maybe say privacy. I think security also, like it shouldn't be when you give your username password, somebody else shouldn't be able to access that. One thing, or maybe you can say when you put in Facebook, like say private information, you hide it, isn't it? Like you have the option to hide, etc. So it shouldn't be still accessible to others. When you make it private, it should be private. So when you even enter some details, like say birth date and all, sometimes when we enter, it should be kept as the privacy should be maintained. So then we say it is a non-functional requirement. Like say we discussed about ticket booking software. So their performance is one non-functional requirement. That is, we said that during Tatkal, that time you will have lots of users accessing the software. So of course the software shouldn't. Sometimes you get no server. You will get your system would, in the sense your page would be stuck. You can't get anything. You can't book. You can't do anything. That is because the system is not able to respond when you have large load. So that is it is not a functionality of your what is your ticket booking software actually doing. The aim is to functionality, like what is its main function? That is to book the tickets, check the availability of tickets, etc. That is its use, isn't it? That is what you use it for. But that is, those are the requirements. So when I write down the requirements of ticket booking software, what would be the requirements? I would say booking a ticket, that would be one. So checking the availability, then seeing the status of the booking, like say if it was waiting list, it should be updated to RAC, etc. So that checking the status. Then maybe we have, like say, this food also can be
Entering
attached,
the
etc.
destination.
Yeah, changing the destination. So these are all kind of functional requirements only. These are all why you use that system. Okay, so they're all functional requirements. Now when I say Tatkal time, when you have large number of users using that particular software, it is getting stuck. So my requirement is the system should not get stuck. Even system in the sense, not your laptop, your that page. Okay, so that software should be able to respond. Like we should be able to book even when Tatkal time, that is large number of users are accessing that software. So that is one non-functional requirement. So we are saying about the performance of the system, like how well it perform even in high load. Okay, so that is one thing. Like another thing could be like when you enter your in the same railway reservation thing, you are entering your bank details. So entering the bank details is part of your functionality only, because booking the ticket of course has bank transaction also in picture. So entry of bank details and then getting that page, etc., will be your functional requirement. But maintaining the security, that is you ensure that your bank details entered are not accessible by any other users of that software. That requirement is a security requirement, which is a non-functional requirement. That is also a requirement, but it is not your exact functioning of your software. Do you differentiate that now more, Shashi Kamal?
Yes, ma'am. That I have an example, ma'am, for non-requirement, non-functional requirement. In Tatkal booking, if we adding the bank details and there is any wrong payment occurred, that is functional requirement, ma'am. And contacting the customer care, it is non-functional requirement.
Yeah, contacting the customer care can be non-functional. But only thing is sometimes as a functionality, Yeah, maybe I think last class also somebody told about customer care. I think yeah, customer care can be talked of as help. So we can say it as it is like an additional support what you give for this software. So you can say it like a non-functional requirement. I think last class somebody told. I think you can consider like a non-functional requirement because actually our software is not for that, but an extra in the sense just for our help for easy usage of that or say complaint booking etc they have enabled it. So that is for more reliability or something, so we can say it's a non-functional requirement.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you said no, ma'am, booking a ticket when the server is busy, the system will stuck, no, ma'am.
Yes.
Isn't that come under error handling?
Error handling is not that. Booking the ticket under high load is performance only. How well the system in the sense your software performs when you have large number of users. Okay, so if the performance is not so great when you have large load, it may not perform well. Error handling is like say for example, let me think. If somebody gets some example for error handling, just help me out. I'm not remembering
Ma'am,
suddenly. Yeah. For example, now this username password. So when you type the username password, so login module, login also is a module, isn't it? So when you
Yes.
type a wrong thing, okay. So how well it handles it is also a kind of error handling, you can say. Or somebody else was telling something. Can you say?
Ma'am, if we are processing a payment or a login, ma'am, during that time duration, if the network is blocked or ma'am, the network issue is there, so
Exactly.
ma'am,
Yes.
there is a
Yes.
error.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes, like say, partially you're done with the transaction and then suddenly network fails. Now what happens? Maybe you're on the way, like you're in the middle of the transactions. So of course, it shouldn't be like say 1,000 rupee transaction you're making. It shouldn't be like it is there in your account as well as the IRCTC account. It shouldn't be like that, isn't it? So either it should have been done fully transferred to the IRCTC or it should be reverted back. So automatically sometimes when you book Uber etc it comes like it would be I mean it will come back to your account after some time. So even IRCTC booking sometimes if it is not done properly, if it was not completed, it comes back to your account. So that is like an error handling. Exactly. Good example. So that is kind of error handling what we are talking about. So that is also kind of non-functional requirement. How well it is able to uh, handle when there are errors. Okay, so
Ma'am,
these are all different. Yes.
error handling is functional requirement, no, ma'am.
No, error handling is non-functional. Oh, error handling. Yeah, correct. Functional only. Yes. Because why I think why they would have mentioned as error handling because that is also a part of functionality itself. Like mute yourself when you speak, you unmute, but then after that, you guys don't remember that you are not muted. Suddenly you start speaking. Yeah. So what I was telling, yeah. So why it could be like a functional requirement is because that is part of input output itself. Like in the sense, how well you are able to process, and basically does the error handling also there itself. So these are like basic requirements from your software. But other than that, like security, safety, performance, etc., would become like a non-functional requirement. Yes, error handling is a functional requirement
Yes,
because
ma'am, understood.
that is expected from your transaction. Like when you have a partial transaction done, of course it's expected from the functionality that it should be complete. So that is like a requirement, functional requirement. Yes. Okay, so I think you all have gone through more examples, so maybe you can still go through, and if you have confusions you can ask. So all these are the different requirements what we have. Okay, functional and non-functional. uh, just a second. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. So next is we are talking about functional requirement validation. That is, we have mentioned some requirements as the functionalities, and whether it is done. I mean, the questions would be uh, whether it is correct, consistent, and complete. So let us see what is each thing. Okay. So for example, when you talk about correctness, okay, so that is when you talk about correctness, whether all the stakeholders, hope you remember what is stakeholders, customers, users, developers, everyone, okay, all of them understand the specified requirements in the same way. Otherwise, what happens is some the like our example of tree and the swing, okay, some have mentioned something but others have understood something else, and then they move forward with some kind of development. So it doesn't make sense. So the correctness means all of them have understood the requirements in the same way. Okay, so that is our what do we mean by correctness of the requirements. Now what they say is like to check correctness, like say if like say if I am telling like he was mentioning about the error handling. So my requirement, I would write like a logical proposition. Hope you remember about proposition. So how would I write this? Like say if the transaction has not completed. Why transaction means while we pay the money, while booking ticket. If the transaction is not completed, the amount should be refunded back to the customer, okay, or to the user. Okay, so that can be, if you mention like that, it is more clear. So if then, okay, so if this then this, something like that you have mentioned, so it's like a logical proposition. So they're telling to understand, to check correctness. So rather than just telling something, if you like kind of bring it out like a proposition, logical proposition sorry excuse me. What you can do is you can
I didn't understand.
yeah. Just a second, I'll repeat it. We are talking about correctness. Okay, so correctness means all the user, all the stakeholders understand this in the same way. So they are telling to check correctness. It can be written like a logical proposition. You remember what is proposition, no? Like we wrote P implies Q, P or Q, etc. So so if my one of my requirement is say for example, I am a user. I am just telling that transaction should be proper. Okay, so if I tell my requirement like that, do you understand what do I mean? You won't understand, isn't it? It's not very clear. You may think that okay, transaction should be proper means maybe as a software developer you would think that okay, the transaction should be proper means bank should be able to I mean you should be able to access the bank account properly and carry out the transaction. But what I would have meant is this, that is transaction should be proper means what I am thinking is like say when I make a transaction, there should not be loss of money because of the software. That is, either the ticket should have been booked. Only then, only if the ticket is booked, I should be losing my money from the account. Otherwise, it should have been reverted back to my sent back to my account. So that is my thought. But I am just telling that transaction should be proper. Okay, so when I say that transaction should be proper, you don't understand it well, isn't it? Only the user who I like, that was my requirement, so I understood, but you have not understood it. Whereas if I write it like this, that is say for example, 1 second, akka adu fan haake. So if I mention it like this, that is if the transaction is incomplete, then the money should be what is that? Money should be sent back to the account, user account, something like that. I make it clear like if this, then this. Okay, or like if I have multiple things, like say if transaction has been started and it has not completed, then money should be sent back to the account. Is it more clear now when I say like this, or the previous explanation of, I mean, previous requirement specification was more clear to you? Which was more clear to you?
The previous one, when transaction is not complete, send the money.
Yeah, I understand. My question is, one way I mentioned my requirement is transaction should be proper. Okay, that is one way of my, like say for example, I take somebody's name. What is your name?
Nikhil.
Nikhil. Yeah. So Nikhil, assume that you are mentioning the requirement, like say I am mentioning the requirement. We both are users, okay, and we are asking the team to develop the software, and I am mentioning that um, transaction should be proper. Okay, that is the way I mentioned the requirement. Whereas you have mentioned that if I have started the transaction, or if I have started the booking and the transaction was not completed, then refund the amount back to my account. Which of these is more clear, my requirement or your requirement?
My requirement.
Yeah, that is because you have put it more like P or Q than R. Is it so?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, right? You have put it that way. If this and this, then this. It is like your proposition, logical proposition. P or Q implies R. We discussed long back, no? So since you have brought those things, you need not write P or Q, but then you have written your statement that way. Like you have proper logical connection and you have certain propositions. So it will be more clear for all the users when you put it that way than like me mentioning proper, just I'm just telling transaction should be proper. So which is more clear, yours is more clear because you have brought it in a proper way. So that is what they are telling. So that now when you say all the stakeholders, that is customers, users and developers, everyone has understood this requirement. Whereas when I mentioned it, just that transaction is proper, should be proper, so it is not very clear. So because I have not brought it like a proper logical proposition, etc. So you have to explain it with well, I mean the proper like a logical proposition, it will be more clear. So you can check also like whether this and this. So what happens is once you get that requirement, it is easy to check whether it is satisfied or not. That is also easy. So that is what they are talking about, correctness. Okay. Now what is is it clear, Nikhil?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So that is correctness. Okay. Now what is consistency? Okay. Consistency is, of course, what different users or customers are telling, all should be consistent with each other. Like you shouldn't have contradicting requirements. Hope you remember some example what I told before about our AUMS. Like say the teacher would, if teacher is a user, teacher would say that the mark shouldn't be visible to the students. Whereas a student user, when he states the requirement, he may say that I want the marks to be displayed to the student. So the two requirements are actually contradicting to each other. So you need to resolve that. So we need to check whether we don't have any functions or requirements contradicting to each other. Similarly, when you develop some function also, it shouldn't be contradicting. So that should be there. No contradiction should be there between the requirements. So that is consistency. And then completeness is like when you explain the requirements, the entire software's functionality you would have explained as different requirements. So you should be able to represent the full software with all the requirements. One or the other requirement should be able to fully explain your software. Okay, that is like whether you are completely mentioned what is expected from the software. So that is what they're telling. Takes careful consideration to be certain that every possible scenario has been considered and explained in one or more requirements. So when you consolidate all the requirements, all the scenarios should have been taken care. So complete it should be. so that you don't have some missing things in picture. So manually check and add functions. So what is one possibility to know whether it is complete? You have to check whether each functions are correct or not, like everything is mentioned or not. You have to manually check. Or there is something called state activity table. That is when you have what happens is, like, this is not whether it has satisfied, this is the initially, like whether we have mentioned all the requirements properly or whether we have missed. Like sometimes, you feel that it is very obvious and you don't tell, but maybe the developer doesn't know it. So then there is a some requirements are not mentioned, isn't it? So there is some kind of state activity table which actually can represent if there is some um, what is that, missing cells. What happens is they understand that some things are not stated properly, something are missing, so some requirements are not specified. So we can still again work on it and explain, write down the requirement which even considers that. So they have given the template for state activity table. It is like, say, application states, that is like, say, if you have a video player application, like on, off, etc., would be your different states. Okay. And user actions or activity, like say click play button, click pause button, then say volume. I'm talking about a video play app. Okay. So the user actions could be like, say, clicking the play button, or say clicking the pause, say clicking the volume increase or speed increase, double click. All those are like actions of the users, and these are like different application states. That is like, say, initially, first time when you start, before starting, the app has not started, isn't it? So we can say the app not executing, some kind of a state. Then we can say, like, say, initially video is paused. Only when you start playing it, it will. I am talking about the example of a video player. Okay. Some other state could be videos playing, another state could be video paused. Okay. So different states of that particular software or application, and different actions what the user would have, actions or activity. Now based on this, if something is missing, okay, if everything is mentioned, fine. Some would be impossible. Okay. That is like, everywhere we can't mention some content. That is like, say, for example, uh, app is not executing. Okay. And like, say, you're trying to play, that is not possible. No. Say app is not executing is the state, and click play, or say increase the volume, that's not possible here. No. Before you start start your application or your video player, you can increase the volume, isn't it? So this particular part you can't show anything, of course. But other than that, like valid activities, some requirements, if it is missing, that can be identified from the table, and then those kind of requirements can be mentioned. Okay. So some whichever blank should be the impossible state action combination. All others should have been mentioned in our requirements. Is it clear? I think the example is not there. So that's why I've just told. Is it clear, or you want me to explain it once again?
Ma'am,
Again on
please
the
explain
exam.
again, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll explain once again. So did you understand what do we write here and here? Actually, I don't have that slide, otherwise I would have. Maybe I'll just. So actually what happens is, assume that here we write the actions, and now we are talking about a video player app, or a video player. Okay. So some kind of software we'll have, like, say, VLC player or something. So that is the app or software what we are talking about. And user actions could be like, say, click play button, click pause button, click increase, decrease, all those kind of actions. Now, what could be the different states of that software? So initially the app is not executing. So we can say app not executing. Then we can say another action could be video is paused. Then we can say video is playing. Then we can say video is finished, we completed, something like that. Okay. So these are different states of the application, and these are different user activities. Okay. Now, In this table, each of the requirement would be actually like, say, when you click the play button, say here, if there is a play button, it should be in this particular, say, video post, something like that. So when you say, in the, what is that? A particular state is because of particular action, isn't it? Like if you click on the play button, it goes to the, it is in the play mode, or if it is in the pause mode, you can press the play mode, play button, something like that. So so if something is not filled here, which means some requirements we have forgotten to mention. So those requirements we need to mention. But there are some things which is not possible. That is, like, say, for example, if the app is not executing, can we increase the volume? So there is a user activity called increase the volume. Is it possible then? Can we write a requirement for that? No, isn't it? No. So that is an impossible requirement there. So we'll leave it blank. But what if there is a say if the state is video playing and we need to increase volume. So there it is possible, isn't it? But what if I have forgotten to mention? It will be left blank. Okay, so this is the way we just fill in the requirements. We just name, like, say, if I have 5, 6 requirements, we can just say V1, V2, V3, etc. And we write down the requirements. Something if we have, and here we just write V1, V2, V3, etc. And if some places it is not filled, it means that it is impossible. So you will just see whether something is missed out by seeing this table, and check whether it is an impossible requirement, then we leave it. If there are some things like, say, for example, the application is in, like, say, play mode. So video is playing is the state of this software, and my user activity is, say, increase the volume. Actually, I should have given a requirement there. But what if I have forgotten? Then it is a missing. So you need to fill that. So all the missing entries you will go through in the table. It is more to, like, if you manually start checking, it is actually, you also will make mistake. Like you may also forget some options. So when you plot, I mean, when you draw like this, what happens is it becomes more simple. Like you have to just see whether all the cells have been filled. If not, it should be a impossible requirement. Otherwise, it should have been filled. Is it more clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll maybe in the next class, I'll try to show that figure also if you want. So that's all with this chapter. Actually, we are winding up. So next lesson we'll start in the next class. Is there anything else you want to ask me? Otherwise, we'll end this session.
Ma'am, can you upload the PDF?
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me.
Ma'am, can you please give your contact number for any other queries or doubts?
You can actually ping me in this, because WhatsApp, though, I always get so many questions, and your class is a huge strength. So if you all start messaging me, it would become, I think I'm already there in F section WhatsApp group. So I think they'll have my number, but otherwise, preferably you can send it in Teams private chat to me. Just click on this name, you will see my mail ID. You can just put a message in Teams.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But just mention that you are a student of F section or G section. Only if it is urgent, you call back. Okay. Okay, then. If there is nothing, we'll maybe end the session. I'll upload the PDF. Okay.